Hello, my nerds and nerdettes. This is part 3, the Spider-Man College Trilogy pre-writes, which is going to be titled Spider-Man Fear No More. So we're going to open up on the exact scene that the first movie with them, with Carly Cooper, Peter Parker, Flash Thompson, and Jenny Lincoln, with them saying the uck of the word, which was cut off in the... Yeah, it's basically a shot-for-shot thing, and then they'd be, interrupted, we just get, a finishing thing, we'd end off right them. And they'd realize that they made a huge mistake, and that he's up to something, because why would Wilson Fisk freaking do this whole, return of the Sokovia Accord things for New York? And so they'd all suit up, and they'd leave. And, yeah. Then they'd, go out, and they'd be, spotted. And they'd basically be on a run, just like in No Way Home. But you see, this time, when they get to a rooftop, they meet people. And they'd meet Daredevil, Black Cat, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Hawkeye. See, they all meet up at the end of this first act. And, basically, they'd all work together to defeat the Kingpin. They'd, fill him in that Kingpin is Wilson Fisk, and they're the reasons why this is all happening, because they ignored the third person and was just focusing on, Hammerhead and Tombstone. So they all have to fix the problem. And so in the second act, they kind of, all these guys would, be trying to figure out why Kingpin is doing this. And then they'd be, caught by Jefferson Morales. And so Kingpin, he'd decide he's been getting even more recruits of his registered heroes to go with Scorpion, Swarm, Prowler, Hydro-Man, Jack-O-Lantern, and someone else who Spider-Man fans will recognize. Liz Allen, who is sporting some new gear that is reminiscent of her father's Vulture Girl, and she's going to be called the Vultress, aka Female Vulture. She'll register to get revenge on Spider-Man for putting her father away, because now she has the power to stop him. And so Kingpin will have his Sinister Six, but are just going to be called the Six, but they're the Sinister Six. They're a good Sinister Six, who are honestly able to knock the floor with these guys. They're all superpowered or have powers, and she's just a thief. He only has bulletproof skin. She barely has any power. She doesn't have any powers, I don't think. And she just has arrows. He's a blind man. She has a suit, but hers is more powerful. And him and Flash and Spider-Man are really only people who can hold their own. So they all have to get upgrades while they're investigating. And then they'd realize, and we'd also get a mini fight in this fight between Scorpion and Spider-Man, which would basically where Scorpion tries to get his revenge on Spider-Man. Because his face got absolutely messed up thanks to Peter. So yeah, they'd all through the second act, while trying to get information on Kingpin, would also trying to defend and hide from the Sinister Six, which is honest, with the help of Carly, who, again, just gonna remind you, these two are now dating. They're dating now. This is the new MJ. But, yeah. So they all, find information and figure out why he's doing this. It's simply because he doesn't want the heroes interfering with his business of not only taking control of the crime in New York, but New York as a whole. That's why he became mayor, is because he wants to control New York as a whole. And so, yeah, in the third act, these guys would, decide to, you know what, we're going to flip it over on them. We're going to hunt them. I'm saying hunt a lot. I don't know why. But, yeah. And so they, like, find everyone except Carly because she doesn't have any superpowers or suits or any special skills besides detective work and reporter stuff. They'd all fight the Sinister Six. Except for two of them, Daredevil and Spider-Man. So Hawkeye, Beetle, Agent Venom, Black Cat, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones would fight the Sinister Six. But the final fight will be between Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Kingpin. These two would work together to defeat Kingpin, because honestly, I don't think we can defeat Kingpin without Daredevil, because that's how he's introduced in the MCU now. I guess that's canon now. But yeah. So they defeat Kingpin, and the others defeat the Sinister Six. And so they would part ways with them, and then they'd go do their own stuff. Black Cat would, like, maybe say that she's going to France, like she did in the game. He'd go back to Hell's Kitchen. These two would just do whatever, and she'd, like, say that her, Clint needs some help with this new Avengers program. And, yeah. And we'd also see a scene of a reminiscent scene of Spider-Man swinging with Carly. Reminiscent of the No Way Home scene. Final scene with MJ. To show that he's moved on. And yeah. And so they'd go back to, they'd go back to Flash's place, and then they'd see another news report. While talking of the new mayor, Roger Kingsley, who was the runner-up, who would basically explain that he's getting rid of the Kingpin's, like, Soviet Accords, things, so now vigilantes can work freely again, because without them, Kingpin would be villain. And just so you know, that's Roger Kingsley. If you know, you know. But yeah, so after that, they turn off the TV and they'd start talking, and then Flash would ask, "So how's your new job, Peter?" And he'd say, because you see, I mentioned in, like, part 1 of this, like, trilogy, that he hates his job because of Jonah Jameson. So he quits and gets a new job. And he says, "I think it fits." And we see that he's now a teacher at Midtown High, a science teacher. And he'd start to do roll call when someone runs into the room. A kid who identifies as Mr. Miles Morales. And then they'd get, like, the spider sense, because that's why he's already bitten by the spider. And they'd get, like, oh, crap. Which I think would be funny, because it's a school. And then that basically ends Spider-Man 6. But see, we're getting a post-credit scene. We'd see him jail cell with Mac Gargan, because he was working with Kingpin. He was, like, his right-hand man. And so, he'd be visited by someone. A hooded man with a jackal mask, coming to Mac Gargan and asking him if he would like a job. And Mac would say, Mac Gargan would have to say, "What do I gotta do?" And this man in the jackal mask would say, "Not much, just some protection." And then boom, it ends. That's the post-credit scene, guys. That's the post-credit scene. We're gonna tease up the next villain who, if you just search up the Jackal and search up what he's done, you'd get a hint at what I would plan for the, like, what I'd call the adult trilogy.